Craig Dickinson or Orlando Steinauer are the nominees for the Coach of the Year in the CFL. But I want to talk about the MOP. Cody Fajardo for the Riders. I don't think any surprise coming out of the West.
No.
Not in my opinion anyways.
No.
Brandon Banks, again, I don't think any surprise in the East.
No.
But these two guys go head-to-head, and I've said it for a couple of weeks now, and this is no disrespect to what Cody Fajardo has done. I think the guy just does everything right. He continues to win. What were they, 12 and I think 2 down the stretch?
Yeah.
Now, one of those games he didn't start. But so whatever. He's 11 and 2 in the most important time of the year. He is the quarterback. Everything goes. But what Brandon Banks has done, and the amount of, you look at his yards after catch, it's not like he's just the guy on the receiving end of this thing. He is such a dynamic, game-changing player for Hamilton, and being out east, I just think that he's going to win it, John.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh!
Well, I can't fight with you.
No.
I can't believe our good friend Ken Austin, was he a good friend of yours?
Came after Kent left.
He made Banks a cornerback. Why would Kent Austin have made him a cornerback? And they switched him last year to wide receiver, of course. And he's fantastic. Was he got 118?
And just remember, he was a returner. He was essentially just a returner.
Yeah.
And dynamic at that. But then you look at certain situations when they need a return or when they feel they put him back there. Yeah. He's just one of those guys. I feel like he's playing at the CFL level, what you sometimes see guys at the college level. Yeah. When you just have such a dynamic athlete that you just completely put him on the field wherever. Yeah. And this is the reason I brought up the Deion Sanders rumor to Florida State. Yeah. Deion Sanders was a guy that they put out as a returner. They put him at a cornerback to shut down the other team's back. All of a sudden, now they got him out there catching passes.
That's right.
He was just such a dynamic player.
Yeah. And you knew the ball was going to him, but it would go, he'd make the big play.
And I feel like Banks is that guy. And I just feel like the season he's had on the best team where they lost a quarterback, Dane Evans comes in. I just felt like he was the constant throughout the year. And not to take away from anything Cody Fajardo did, but how many games did we sit through watching going, where's the offense? Oh boy, this offense at halftime. Yeah. Now, what I do think Fajardo has in his favor is when it's time to push in all your chips and go all in that final drive, how many times did we see that? And I think that's where he's going to get some votes. 3
big ones this year, really big ones.
Tell me
last play of the game, field goals.
Yeah. And drives starting at their 6 or their 15. Who was the last quarterback? And again, not to take anything away from anybody else, that when the Riders were down, I grew up a Rider fan in this province. I was used to, here we go again. Usually it was the other team getting the ball with the Riders up 2 points or 4 points, and you just knew that Warren Moon was going to drive the field, or Conrad Holloway was going to drive the field, or here comes Dave Dickinson. And you could almost start packing up your stuff in the stands and going, well, here we go again. We're going to lose again. But the other shoe has dropped this year, and it's the Riders that I quite honestly just feel like when they get the ball and they're down and it's in the final 3 minutes there, I start packing up going, okay, are they just going to score a touchdown or get a field goal? Yeah. Because Cody Fajardo has me believing, and more importantly, he's got his team believing. And I think that has to count for something when it comes to the votes, that this guy, you can't pick a time where he crapped the bed in the final 3 minutes. Lots of guys get, banged on for that. Tony Romo, oh, geez, he always finds a way to lose it. Fajardo finds a way to win it.
Sure does.
Does that not count for something in the voters' eyes?
It should. I'm going to vote for him. Are you surprised?
No, not at all.
No, I think he's been so valuable to this football team for exactly like that. Making the big plays at the big time. Their 12-2 record in the stretch was fantastic. But how about those last 2 or 3 games when he come through the last minute? And Labor Day, winning field goal, last play of the game against Winnipeg. 2 other ones, the last play of the game. Really unbelievable.
So who does he remind you of? Who's the last guy? Did you have the confidence in to go, I think the Riders can win this thing?
I'd have to say Ronnie.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Ronnie. You got to go back that far.
It's got to go back that far. And Ronnie was great in the big plays. He'd diddle around in a game, then come to the last 2 minutes when we're down by a touchdown or 3 points and march down the field and the last play of the game, kick a field goal or score the touchdown. Yeah, I'd say Ronnie.
What are these guys? What's their makeup? What do they have that other guys don't have?
Confidence. Real.
Yeah, but where does it come from? Cody Fajardo just starting this year.
No feelings at all with pressure. They don't realize the game doesn't affect them. The crowd up there doesn't bother them at all. They just go in there and coolly do it.
That's
the
funny.
last game here, this kid went down the field six passes.
But you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
too.
you did. You felt confident it was going to happen, and he did it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's the opposition think?
Well, I think they start to believe that he's going to get them too.
That's right.
But I mean, there's certain guys that you just assume that's going to happen with. Yeah. John Elway became that way. Yeah. John Elway became the guy that you just are like, oh boy, don't give them do not leave time on the clock.
Yeah.
Don't leave Tom Brady time on the clock.
Well, we got to
down 28-3. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Bo Levi's the same way.
Do you feel that way still? Do you feel that way this year?
Not completely. I feel this guy's better.
Do you feel the shine has come off?
Yeah, the shine has come off. This guy's better. The shine has come off Bo Levi a little bit. His shoulder's still back on him, but he's playing pretty good football. I'm not going to lie. Calgary wins this game this weekend. I'm a nervous fan for 60 minutes on the following Sunday until that clock hits 0. And I will say they just find a way. Think of the game in Calgary. The Riders had an opportunity. All they had to do was make a stop. Now, it wasn't for the win, but the Riders make a stop, and then you think to yourself again, Fajardo's got the ball, he can go ahead, and he could just get it done. And they couldn't stop Bo Levi and Calgary, and they ended up going down the field. And that was a bad call by the Riders. They shouldn't have.
But again,
lost by 2 points. Eh?
But do you think that it was Calgary again? It was Calgary.
Confidence. Again. That's what we have in him. Confidence. People believe this kid can do it. This guy can do it. That means so much. How many guys have we gone through in the last 10 years? Can you name them all?
A lot. All of them. Dave writes in on the Facebook wall, it's not just the last-minute drives, but look at the position on the field that two of those drives started from. Sorry, I had a question mark in the middle there. Not to bang on your grammar, because God knows I'm terrible at grammar. But yeah, I got to agree. I mean, the field position, you got to drive the field. Wayne writes in as well. I have to say, even Darian made me think we could come back late in a game like Cody does. He inspires confidence in Cody to bring us back in the final few minutes. But you think of the Riders, some of those Rider games, it wasn't necessarily comebacks. Those were games where they kind of were out in front. I'm talking when Darian Durant was the quarterback. They did come back in that game I mentioned in 2009, that August game. But think of the Grey Cup in 2013. Yeah. I mean, they that was just a runaway from the beginning. Yeah. Go back to the game in Calgary the week before. I mean, it was just the Riders mauled Calgary in that game.
35-15.
I remember being there, and it was like there was no question who was going to win that game.
That was the leadership of Darian Durant. Don't ever
it was, but he didn't have to come back.
No,
it was a steamroll from the beginning. Right. The game against BC, the West semifinal. Darian again. Yes, he was dominant, but you never felt like they needed that drive or to win it. Although that last drive was
this guy's unbelievable for the last minute drives. The last 2 minutes.
Do you see what you need to see in him? And obviously the Riders did, and Jeremy O'Day, along with Craig Dickinson and everybody, to sign him. Do you see what you believe is the makings of the next one? And I know we've gone around this a ton, but now that he's been nominated for the West Division MOP, do you see this being, okay, maybe we've got something where we are now the team in the West, not Calgary?
Definitely. Really.
Sustainable.
I wanted to believe it, but now I can without having to force myself to. I really believe this kid's for real. And listen to him talk and what he's done in the field. Unbelievable that he's shown to us. And it'd be big pressure again for him.
Do you think it gets to him? This is a different game than he's ever started. This is absolutely different. I'm
talking in circles here, but I think he'll probably start no matter what.
So he starts. This is a different game than he started before. He's been a part of it. He's had the ability to watch under Ricky Ray. Yeah. He's had the ability to watch guys like Lule. But starting that game, and he's going to be aware of it. There's no question. He is aware that it's been a decade since the Riders have hosted this game.
Yeah.
This is kind of as rare as finding that needle in the haystack. Yeah. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, West Division hosts.
Yep. The guy's grasped. That's another thing.
Doesn't get to him. You don't think? He's
grasped how important this game is to the Roughriders. He does. He understands how important it is to the Roughriders.
But you don't think...
And what it means to the football.
You're not concerned about nerves or anything like that?
No.
Especially with a bit of a ding, a bit of an injury.
No. I think he's going to be cool, calm, relaxed, insensitive. insensitive to what's going on.
Has he contacted you about being his agent for his next contract?
Yeah, I worry about that. If he has 2 great years, then what happens? We don't know where football is going to be in 2 years. I don't think that Vince McMahon's going to be around, though. So it'll just be, once again, the CFL, second best league in the world, against the NFL. So we'll do okay. And he's being treated well here. He loves Regina, which is great.
I'm just waiting for the Fajardo flakes. I had Fantu's flakes. I'm just waiting for the Fajardo flakes or something of the likes.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.